Chosen one, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, in the swirl and noise of crowded spaces, God is forging 5 shields around empaths and prophetic souls like you. Right now, yes, as you walk into rooms heavy with energy that is not yours, as conversation crashes against you, as the heaving weight of unseen burdens brush against your spirit, there is a supernatural defense being granted. Let me take you in deep, so close you feel it like pressure at your chest. This isn't theory. This isn't wishful thinking. This is survival for those who taste the world's pain in technicolor, those who feel every thread humming in their nervous system. Every single step you take in the crowd, every time your heart clenches for no reason you can name, every shiver of dread in your bones, these are the battlegrounds where God is activating these shields. Let me show you the first shield forming right now. It's the shield of discernment. In a noisy place, a restaurant, a conference hall, a packed train, the atmosphere teems with unspoken things. Anxieties commute from one face to another. Gossip ripples beneath polite laughter. Competition settles behind merged smiles. Your gift is not just feeling it. Your gift right now is being able to tell what's yours and what's not. You feel a headache clawing at your skull, but this time suddenly clarity cuts through. That heaviness does not belong to me. Someone's depression creeps toward you like a fog, but in this moment, instead of drawing it in, discernment lets you label it, seal it, keep it outside your heart. The first shield is this: the pain you detect won't stick to you. Right now you are learning to say, that's theirs, not mine. That is not my assignment to carry. Not every ache is yours. Not every tear is meant to pool inside your own soul. Suddenly there is a holy detour around your heart. Now let me break this down further, because I know what it's like for your mind to spiral at 3 a.m. after one of these days. The crowd is dissolved, but in darkness their residue clings to you. It's nearly 3 a.m. You wake up suddenly, heart pounding, sweat racing down your neck, sheets a tangled prison. Your mind runs wild with images, the stranger's grief you glimpsed on the subway, the customer's rage that wasn't even meant for you, the echo of your coworker's anxiety riding in your bloodstream. Your hands curl into fists, your breath comes shallow. You try to pray, but the words stick and tangle. You try scrolling through your phone, hoping distraction will chase away the fog. Nothing satisfies. The headlines only amplify the noise. A painkiller does nothing. Lavender on your wrists can't drown out this ache. You cry silent in the dark, thinking, why do I feel so much when I'm finally alone? It's as if all the energies in the room have collected inside you like static, and sleep won't come. The air feels thick. Your heart is tight, and you ask God, why did you make me like this? The world is quiet except for the electric hum on your nerves, every muscle tense. You count the hours until morning, knowing that sunlight won't fix the residue inside. Let me tell you, this is the crucible where the first shield is forged, right in the place you think you are weakest. God is not absent in your anxiety. Right now, that shield of discernment is building muscle. Each sleepless night, a new layer is added. A confidence tomorrow that says, I feel it, but I will not own it. And with every repetition, every cry, every ache, every morning survived, the shield grows. Suddenly, overnight, empathy becomes boundary. You will walk through crowds without absorbing background sorrow. Let me take you into the second shield, the shield of holy containment. You know what it means to be a sponge, soaking up the atmosphere until you drip with burdens not meant for you. Right now, God is wrapping you in containment. This is not a wall. It's not hardness. It's a supernatural boundary that keeps your deep well from spilling out. Where you once bled emotions all over rooms, now there's a holy hush that guards your outflow. You feel it. Moments when the urge to weep in response to someone's pain rises, but instead of bursting out, You feel an invisible hand cup your emotions, keeping them steady. You can stand beside agony, and instead of joining in collapse, you offer quiet strength. Your tears don't run wild anymore. Your compassion is channeled, focused, wise. Before, a single conversation left you depleted for days, but now, listen carefully, the drain is stopped. The overflow, the constant leaking ends. Your spirit is no longer a breached dam. Now it's a reservoir, stored, released only on heaven's command. Here's the third shield being woven into your life now. The shield of strategic invisibility. There are times when your light has made you a target, when the wrong people detected your softness, your gift, and tried to draw you out, deplete you, use you. But right now, a supernatural cloak settles over you. You walk into spaces, and unless it's God's will, you are invisible to those who would drain you. The manipulators, the narcissists, the energy vampires, they just don't see you. Their gaze slips past, their radar scrambles. You can observe without being drawn in. You can pass through a room without feeling accosted or exposed. Right now, God is hiding you in plain sight. No need for performance, no urge to explain yourself, no vulnerability on display. Your presence is guarded, and your spirit signal is muted to those who would misuse it. The conversations you're not invited into are protection, not rejection. Doors close, paths reroute, invitations dry up. Not because you're forgotten, but because you're immune to their drain. Let me tell you about the fourth shield, the shield of supernatural recall. Right now, God is gifting you with the ability to remember the truth of your identity in the thickest of chaos. The crowd will try to overwrite you. Voices, needs, opinions, criticisms, envy, urgency. But in the swirl, you suddenly remember who God called you to be. When voices try to drown out your own, when people's problems threaten to become your definition, a word from the Lord flashes, "You are chosen. You are beloved." This crowd doesn't get to name you. Every time someone projects their fear or shame onto you, every time the voices in the crowd get loud, the shield of recall triggers. Maybe it's a scripture, maybe a song, maybe a memory of God's faithfulness. You anchor yourself again and again and again. In the din, you recite your name in God's mouth. You walk out of conversations not with their heaviness attached, but with a stubborn belief in who you actually are. Suddenly, overnight, others' labels peel off of you. What used to cling and define now just rolls off. Here's the final shield, the fifth one. The shield of calibrated compassion. This is not compassion that crushes you. Not sympathy that bankrupts your energy. This is compassion with a heaven-set thermostat. Right now, you are being taught when to speak and when to stay silent, when to pour out and when to pull back. You see someone suffering, and instead of rushing to rescue and losing yourself, you're able to ask, "Is this my assignment? Or am I only called to pray and let go?" Your heart stays soft, but your yes is strategic. You help without enabling. You love without identifying with the pain. When situations would have swallowed you, a friend's breakup, a stranger's despair, a family member's crisis, now you discern what is yours. Your compassion is precise, not reckless. The burden lifts. You serve, you intercede, but you don't collapse under the load. Right now, God is showing you how to be present without being crushed, how to carry light into darkness and keep the darkness from entering you. So I decree it over you right now as these words reach your spirit. In the swirl of the crowd, in every charged space, in the press of voices and energies not your own, you do not drown. You discern and stand. You walk with holy containment. You pass unseen where you need protection. You remember who you really are, not who they try to make you. You offer compassion without collapse. The shields go up, higher and higher. The residue lifts off. The labels slide away. The overload ends. The crowd loses its grip. Suddenly, overnight, you are hidden, held, whole, right now. Let me take you deeper into what most never see, the moment of reversal when an empath or prophetic soul realizes just how costly the price of feeling can be. There's a season where every crowd seemed like a battlefield, every encounter felt like a wound that wouldn't close. You'd walk away from a group chastising yourself for not being able to handle what others seemed to ignore. Too sensitive, they'd say, rolling their eyes. You heard it from parents, teachers, partners, colleagues, friends who couldn't imagine taking on more than what appeared at the surface. You tried so hard to toughen up, didn't you? Closed yourself off. You learned to fake numbness, tried to pour concrete over your sensitivity, rehearsed apathy like a role you were never meant to play. Maybe you wore headphones in public, kept your eyes fixed on the phone, found a million tricks to block out feeling. But none of it lasted. The most casual touch, a stranger's sigh, a snatch of tension in someone's joke, it still got through. Let me tell you, what felt like failure was really preparation. What felt like rejection was God drawing clean lines between what you needed to shed and what you were born to carry. You watched yourself crumble, thinking you were weak. Really, it was your softness, your open nerve honesty being separated from the world's callousness. You couldn't lose your sensitivity because it was never a flaw. It was the proof you were chosen to hear what goes ignored. This is the great reversal. The very thing you begged God to take away became the mark of your authority. Those 5 shields weren't heaven's apology for a cosmic mistake. They are the tuning forks of your commission. The reversal presses deeper. Places where you were overlooked, dismissed, even scorned, are now backdrops for public restoration. I'm telling you right now, God is flipping the script in rooms that used to drain you. Remember how your voice was drowned out by louder, sharper tongues? How people treated your insights like interruptions, how your intuition was ridiculed. You'd go home rehashing every word, stomach in knots, replaying what you could have said, should have done. But now, right in front of those same faces, your discernment can't be denied. The boardroom hushes when you speak because wisdom falls heavy in the air. Family members who mocked your overactive imagination now call for counsel when crisis hits. Friends who ghosted you surface again, desperate to learn how you keep peace in chaos. The ones who tried to exploit your kindness suddenly find the doors of your spirit closed. Unavailable, not with anger, but with unapologetic boundary. They feel the loss. You feel the release. The reversal isn't always loud, but it is always thorough. Doors that once slammed shut in your face start swinging open of their own accord. Invitations you thought were lost start trickling in, and you notice the difference. These are rooms where you're sought out for the light you always carried, not for the utility of your empathy. Suddenly, you're not the last picked. You're the only one qualified for what's next. Assume nothing is accidental. Right now, in the very spaces that cost you so much sleep, so much private agony, honor is returning to you. You are no longer the emotional sponge for everyone's mess. You have become the weather vane for God's direction. Where others sensed only confusion, your spirit reads the map. Where others only felt pressure, you feel promise. Let me show you what vindication looks like when God does it. Vindication isn't petty and it doesn't demand applause. It sounds like people whispering, "How did they make it through all that?" It looks like faces that once looked past you now tracking your every word. It feels like peace settling into your bones in places you once dared not rest. In the workplace, the supervisor who bypassed your insight now circles back privately, asking for your read on the tensions no one else can decode. They see results only when they follow your lead, and they know, even if they'll never say it out loud. In your friendships, those who belittled what you carried now seek your prayer, your covering, your quiet strength. Because when their worlds tilt off axis, yours remains unwrecked. Vindication is walking into a crowded room and feeling not the assault of dozens of feelings you don't own, but the gentle pressure of 5 shields locking into place. Your heart does not hitch with every sigh. Your soul does not fill with ions of someone else's depression. You are not tossed by the room's current. You are anchored. You are steady. You are whole. In your health, vindication shows up as lethargy draining away. The stomach aches and migraines that mirrored everyone else's darkness begin to vanish, because their pain has lost its grip on your nervous system. Your sleep returns. Your appetite balances. You discover the difference between compassion and contagion, and suddenly your body becomes an ally instead of a battlefield. Where you once tried to medicate away what wasn't even yours, now you wake up rested, renewed, clean. Now here's something most will never realize. Vindication for the empath and prophetic isn't just about being released from pain. It is a new commissioning. You are not shielded from the world so you can hide. You are shielded so you can walk back into it with authority. The reversal is not just escape, it is assignment. You're being trusted as a carrier of atmospheres, a watcher at the gates, a thermostat in the storm. You're called to step into meetings, family gatherings, even doctors' offices, and shift the spiritual climate. People think it's charisma or luck, but it's your shields operating. You discern, you contain, you remain unseen by what would drain. You recall your identity, you deliver compassion calibrated by heaven. You do it over and over, and the world cannot explain it. Let me take you into what commission feels like. Suddenly, you're invited into rooms with the hurting, the broken, the lost. Not to be overwhelmed, but to interrupt the generational cycles that poison whole bloodlines. You're called to workplaces steeped in anxiety, not to get infected, but to release peace no one can deny. You visit hospitals, you stand in grief-soaked living rooms, and something about your presence breaks the atmosphere open for hope to enter. Where conflict used to shut you down, now wisdom, boldness, and discernment let you speak in a voice that cuts through chaos without piercing hearts. God sends you into situations where other people burn out, and you, shielded, commissioned, anointed, shift the whole temperature by being grounded, present, and immune to contamination. You feel the difference. Where you once offered everything, trying to save and fix, now your yes is precise and your no is whole. You aren't leaving behind love, you're finally embodying it as it was meant to be. Where people demand your empathy as a right, now you know it is a gift. It flows only as the Spirit directs. There will be moments when you sense the heaviness, but you no longer apologize for not picking up what others refuse to lay down. You're not called to be everyone's rescue plan. Your commission is higher. A keeper of spiritual gates, a breaker of atmospheres, an ambassador of clarity and confusion. That is holy. That is enough. Let me explain just how unstoppable this new arc is. Once the reversal comes, once the shields are raised, the enemy can no longer reroute your journey with old tricks. Your vulnerability is not a back door. It's a launch pad. The people who tried to break you by gossip, neglect, manipulation, exclusion, see that you were never fragile. You were being fortified. The times you wept behind closed doors become the training ground for the kind of authority that cannot be bought, taught, or faked. There is no crowd, no chaos, no heartbreak that will ever undo your composure or authority again. The weapons that once felled you are broken on impact. Let me prophesy this into your spirit right now. What you carry is rare and irreplaceable. Where others live numb, you live awake. Where others drown in mediocrity, you rise in discernment. Where others chase feeling, you anchor in knowing. There is not one moment in your future where you will ever regret the prices you've paid to be this attuned. The betrayals, the sleepless nights, the misunderstandings, the lost years, the sting of being the scapegoat. God flips each loss into a platform for unmistakable authority. So now, in this hour, let it be established. What they tried to bury, God resurrected brighter. Where they tried to mute you, heaven roared. Where they wanted an easy victim, they found an unbreakable witness. Where they hoped you'd wear out, you broke through. Where they dismissed you as too much, you became the answer for what's missing. Each space that drained you becomes ground you now command. Every misunderstanding becomes an anointing for clarity. Every lost friendship becomes capacity for higher alignment. They wanted you confused, but clarity woke up in you. They wanted you drained, but you became a reservoir. They thought you'd forever be their mirror, but you're now the gatekeeper. They hoped your heart would harden, but it turned to diamond. They tried to exile you in a crowd, but heaven made you the anchor in their storms. They expected you to withdraw, but you walked back in shielded, unwounded, commissioned. The reversal is permanent. Vindication is your story. Commission is your calling. And so I decree, right now, suddenly, overnight, you rise shielded, you move whole, you lead atmospheres, not hidden by shame, but hidden by glory, not exhausted, but equipped, not lost in the crowd, but crowned among them. It is finished, it is done, it is yours. Now, chosen one, let me take you all the way through, all the way to the place where your history of wounds no longer threatens your future. There is a moment, right now, as you read this, as the old ache threatens to thicken in the back of your mind, when reversal is not just a distant promise, but a breaking in, a shift you feel at the cellular level. You may remember almost viscerally those years when you prayed away your own instincts. You wanted something easier, something other than this piercing knowing. You wanted to glide through crowds untouched, to enter dinner tables or worship spaces or waiting rooms and feel invisible, anonymous, free from responsibility for every current running through the air. But you never could. The room wrapped around you whether you wanted it to or not. You noticed the mother biting her lip as she counted out every bill at the grocery line. You noticed the false bravado in the man whose jokes always seemed to punch downward. You noticed the one person always left out at the end of the table, shrinking, hoping, barely steady. You couldn't turn that off, and you resented it sometimes. You tried to label it a curse, tried to mask it as busyness, distraction, cynicism, but it was always there, a thread that tied you to the invisible stream beneath every gathering. I'm telling you now, with all the authority heaven gives, right now what you thought was a curse is being rebirthed as your unstoppable advantage. Let me paint the reversal, vivid, complete, unmistakable. There comes a time when you walk into those same crowds and what once battered you no longer even breaches your surface. You catch an edge of pain, but discernment holds it at arm's length. You see the frantic striving, but containment keeps you from absorbing it. The old fatigue, the old mental loops of what did I do wrong, why do I feel so heavy, Ondine, they stop. It's not that pain has vanished from the world, it's that you know now bone deep what is yours and what is not. You taste freedom walking through airports, sitting in waiting rooms, joining group texts, attending gatherings where you're no longer the default healer, the tireless validator, the emotional landfill. You start to realize that the crowded space does not own you. You're not running from atmosphere anymore, you carry your own. That is the reversal at work, and it is breathtaking. Suddenly you realize what they called oversensitive was your holy radar. What they called soft was the spirit's armor. What they mocked as too much, God has claimed as just enough, the exact measure for this very hour. Now let me show you the flavor of vindication as it unfolds, not just in front of onlookers, but inside your own private moments. Vindication doesn't always show up with fanfare and confetti. Sometimes vindication feels like laughter bubbling up in you at a memory that once brought shame. You laugh, not mocking, not cruel, but with the unburdened relief of one who sees now what God was building all along. You look in the mirror and finally recognize the wisdom written in the lines under your eyes. Wisdom bought with every sleepless night, every migraine, every "why me?" whispered through clenched teeth. Vindication is quiet power blooming inside, seeing people's motives and traps from the first sentence. You feel no pressure to prove yourself, to explain away your intuition, to defend your discernment to those determined not to hear. You let silence work its own defense now, because heaven testifies for you. People who tried to twist your motives are met with confusion when their own stories collapse and yours keep standing. The slander, the accusations, the sideways glances, they cannot stick. You are Teflon because your spirit is shielded, not jaded. Vindication looks like physical ease restored. Where your body once ached under the invisible baggage of others' wounds, your joints loosen. Your breath settles. Your heart steps out of panic mode and learns peace like a new language. Relationships recover, not because you're doing the old acrobatics of emotional caretaking, but because you've become safe by being true, predictable by being present, powerful by being unshakable. The ones who love you see the difference. You don't disappear for days after every gathering. Don't snap from exhaustion. Don't pull away and blame yourself for the weight of other people's sadness. Your home becomes sanctuary, not hospital. Your sleep deepens, your laughter flows, and where you once gave out soaking in everyone's crisis, you now radiate overflow. Your joy is durable. This is vindication no enemy can erase. But here is the heart of the matter. Vindication is never the final chapter for a chosen soul. Vindication turns into divine commission. You do not collect empathy as a badge or war story. You are sent out right now, commissioned as an atmosphere changer, a breaker, a signpost pointing to God's reality in the clamoring confusion of earth. Let me tell you what true commission feels like. It is assignment with direction, compassion with precision, courage without fatigue. There are settings you once dreaded that now call to you as arenas for release, crowds crying out for something real. Boardrooms desperate for honest discernment, family gatherings aching for peace that can settle a generational feud. Where other people roll their eyes and check out, you tune in and shift the whole undercurrent. You know when to step in and when to step aside, when to bandage a hurt and when to hand it over to God. Your no is kingdom authority and your yes carries the force of heaven. You begin to see patterns others ignore. The subtle jealousy in someone's questions, the hidden grief behind pride, the urgent hope behind even hostility. Not every battle is yours, not every burden fits your back, but you know which ones are marked by heaven for you to change forever. Here's what commission produces: a new resilience, a refusal to cower before the same old critics, a stubborn insistence to stay soft when the world runs hard. You become less interested in responding to every poking finger, every challenge or test thrown your way. God's orders ring louder than public opinion. You can stand quietly in the corner or step onto a literal stage, and the outcome is the same. The room bends in response to your anointing, your steadiness, your clarity. Your presence opens a pocket of air in suffocating spaces. Where words would have felt wasted and your voice drowned out before, now a sentence, the right sentence, is like water in a drought. You realize, often in hindsight, the number of storms you have stilled simply by entering in peace, by refusing to carry tension, by walking shielded and clean. Do not mistake commission for popularity or favor for universal acceptance. There will be pushback. There will be those who try to guilt you for no longer catering to their drama. There will be people whose chaos loses power when you refuse to absorb it, who accuse you of being cold, different, above it all. But the truth is, you are simply unavailable to be drained. Hell cannot exploit the open doors God has sealed. You become the one whispering calm while the rest clamor for control. People who used to use you to mop up their storms find the mop has become a standard planted in the center of the floor. It doesn't matter how clever the manipulation or how desperate the need, if heaven hasn't assigned it to you, it bounces off. You redirect pain, not into your heart, but straight into the hands of God. Rooms become lighter after you leave. Sorrow passes through but does not linger. Old cycles break, not by your striving, but by your surrendered, shielded being. And now, let me commission you with a closing decree, the strong, unbreakable word that seals every reversal, every vindication, every new commission heaven ordains. Hear me, chosen one, and let it settle in your marrow. They built cages for your compassion, but your heart became an eagle. They fed you roles, but God stamped you with destiny. They drew battle lines and expected you to fall, but you crossed over shielded and whole. They counted you out, but heaven called your number first. They wanted an explanation for why you feel so much. God gave you demonstration. They tried to assign you smallness, but your presence commands the room. They authored anxiety, but God decreed resilience. They wanted you exhausted, but you walk in enduring peace. The old pain is now a platform. The old loss is a launching pad. The wounds that threaten to define you have become the glory that distinguishes you. Right now, overnight, suddenly the reversal completes. The room changes because you are commissioned to carry light, to walk free, to speak only what heaven commands, to love without breaking, to discern without drowning. It is settled. It is sealed. It is done. You are shielded, vindicated, and sent. Now, let me walk you the rest of the way through this, because there is more, always more, in the way God writes endings for those who have walked through fire and didn't lose their softness. There is a holy insistence that the story changes here at this intersection of reversal and release. So many days you thought nothing would shift. You felt stuck as a dumping ground for the careless, the needy, the jealous, the opportunistic, like your heart was public property and your boundaries didn't matter. You grew tired of saying no. You grew tired of defending your intuition, of watching people bristle or mock or retreat when your sensitivity put a mirror to what they'd rather not see. You remember, almost like it's still happening, the disappointment curling inside when you showed up genuine and they acted as if you'd brought something dangerous to the table. They can't admit it aloud, but they always knew. Your presence surfaces hidden truth. Your voice disturbs comfortable patterns. Your tears threaten walls people have plastered up for decades. But let me tell you, none of that was wasted. The pushback, the misunderstanding, the accusations that you cared too much, felt too much, said too much, withdrew too much. God kept account of it all. Not for payback, but for the vindication he would build on the ashes of every moment you thought you were judged for your gift. Hear me. Vindication is the sound of your name being spoken in rooms where you used to be ignored. It is the wind at your back as you enter spaces that once set your nerves screaming. Vindication is what comes pouring back when God repays you openly for all that you absorbed in secret. You will know you are being vindicated when people come to you. Not demanding fixes, not dumping blame, but bringing honor, gratitude, and even apology without you ever prompting a word. You will know it when grace flows back, not as a trickle, but a flood of ease. Suddenly, doors that were locked to the teeth swing open as if no one ever hid the key. You find yourself at the very center of influence where culture once clipped your wings. People you never thought would change now hang on your words. Those who doubted the reality of your discernment begin to shape decisions on what your spirit detects. Where you once begged for understanding, now you are trusted and believed before you even speak. The crowd that saw your shielded compassion as distance now names it as wisdom. Vindication can come softly without spectacle and still be irrevocable. You realize in small moments, Standing in line, answering a call, watching someone's eyes flood with real gratitude. That your shield doesn't separate you, it frees you. You no longer have to convince anyone of your integrity. The fruit speaks louder than your explanations ever did. The emotional vampires move on. Their hooks cannot penetrate your anointing. People who tried to name you wrong finally drop the script, without a fight, without a scene. As the old labels peel away, you see with sharper clarity what you carry is sanctuary for the right souls, discomfort for the unready, and light in a world that mislabels darkness as normal. But deeper still, the arc bends toward a commission that marks your life as different. No more hiding the evidence that you're made for more than coping. I want you to realize, right now in this very season, commission is not a burden stacked on top of wounds. Commission is what happens when the oil squeezed from your pressed places becomes fuel in the hands of God. He trusts you with deep assignments because you keep choosing compassion even after cruelty. Because you return love for misunderstanding. Because you choose the honest over the easy. And the commission is not vague. God will put you in rooms where history pivots on one word you release. In families where peace is possible only because you step in and bless instead of curse. In communities where the hidden thing is finally named and at last broken. You are not merely surviving anymore. You are shifting whole climates without burning out. You arrive and drama de-escalates. You listen and suddenly what was chaos becomes clarity. What once would have crushed you now simply passes over. The shields do their work, quietly, faithfully, keeping what is sacred within you untarnished by even the loudest accusation. When you leave a gathering, it leaves lighter. When you witness pain, it does not become your identity. You become a kind of standard others measure by. Resilience that does not quit, gentleness that cannot be faked. Commission means God trusts your capacity because He saw how you stewarded your pain. You're not known for how many times you broke, but for how many times you chose mercy instead of bitterness. Where the world demanded you harden, you chose to heal. Let me show you more. Commission flows outward and doubles back with blessing. You carry the answers others pray for. You spot the wolf before it howls. Everything changes when you realize your discernment does not make you an outcast. It marks you as a deliverer. People begin to anticipate your arrival because things run smoother, hearts open wider, and what was anxious is made steady. It's in the quiet messages, the calls for prayer, the way someone will wait until everyone else leaves the room just to feel 10 minutes of your steady peace. The notes sent years later from those who say, "I never told you, but what you did for me changed everything." Your legacy is written in the healed places, the averted storms, the destinies reignited just because you stood where empathy could become transformation. You stop wondering if you are too much or not enough. Instead, you start asking, where am I sent next? How do I magnify what God is doing, not just mop up what people have spilled? Commission is not a loneliness, it's a deep, beautiful solitude that brings God's voice closer. Your community shifts, even if old friendships fall away. The right ones find you, the ones who see your shields and honor what you've paid to keep your heart. You begin drawing those who are quietly watching, quietly learning, quietly hungry for everything you have walked through and now know for sure. Let this commission take hold of every part of you, your body, your mind, your voice, your story. Let every lie spoken over you fall dormant, hollow, powerless. You were never meant to shrink, never meant to fold yourself up to fit unkindness. You are permission for others to heal by the wounds you let God redeem. Wherever you go, let the hidden shields manifest so strongly that crowds notice the difference but can't explain it. Let people who meet you in passing leave with a clarity they didn't possess before. Let the very air around you testify that the tables have turned, the season has shifted, and you, once the outcast, are now the gateway to hope for everyone who dares get close enough to notice heaven riding your presence. And so let me place this decree in your spirit, etched, immovable, sealed by the God who called you from birth and shaped these shields with his own hands. They underestimated you, but heaven established you. They tried to overwhelm, but God orchestrated overflow. They mocked your gifts, but your gifts became their rescue. They tried to take advantage, but your boundaries became the terms of engagement. They could not contain you. Every shuttered door now stands open at your arrival. All the times you wished away your sensitivity, God now amplifies as your superpower. Your discernment is sharp, your love is stable, your rest is holy. You will never again apologize for how deeply you feel, how clearly you see, or how fiercely you protect what is sacred. You will not shrink, you will not retreat, you will not forfeit ground won from nights of wrestling with God. They intended exile, but you became a home for the hurting. They meant to break you, but you brokered peace. They tried to close you down, but you opened up a way in the wilderness. They hoped you'd burn out, but you shined stronger. They kept their distance, but you drew heaven near. Vindication is permanent. Commission is secure. The arc is bent forever toward wholeness. And now, shielded in every crowd, trusted on every front, you run light. You speak only what is sealed with glory, and your presence marks the turning of seasons for all who encounter you. Right now, overnight, it breaks forth. Reversal, vindication, commission, decree. Your old story is done. Your crowning has begun. Your